February 19, 1942. The sky above Darwin is clear. Too clear. Fishermen move slowly across the harbor. Soldiers laugh in the distance. For a moment, the war feels far away, like something happening somewhere else. Then the sound arrives. Not loud at first. A distant hum, growing, spreading, until it becomes impossible to ignore. People look up, and they freeze. Dozens of aircraft, dark shapes against the sky. Japanese bombers. The first explosion tears through the harbor. A ship erupts into fire. Another follows. The ground shakes. Smoke climbs into the air like a signal. Within minutes, Darwin is no longer a city. It is chaos.
The bombs! They're everywhere!
And in that moment, something changes. Because this is not just an attack. This is a warning. Australia is no longer safe. And somewhere, far to the north, men are already asking a dangerous question. What if we don't stop here? What if we go further? The possibility no one wanted in real history. Japan never invaded Australia. They bombed it, threatened it, but they never landed troops. Some say it was impossible. Others say it was unnecessary. But history is not built on what was impossible. It is built on what almost happened, because in 1942, Japan stood at the peak of its power, and Australia stood alone. So tonight, we ask, what if Japan made a different decision? What if the bombs over Darwin were just the beginning? What if Japan invaded Australia?
Pull back the line! Don't get up!
To understand how close this came, you have to understand how strong Japan had become. In just a few months, the map of the Pacific had changed completely. Pearl Harbor was burning. The American fleet lay crippled. Across Southeast Asia, British forces were collapsing. Singapore, once believed to be unbreakable, fell faster than anyone imagined. It shocked the world. Because if Singapore could fall, anything could fall. Japanese forces moved with precision. They didn't just attack. They overwhelmed. Speed became their greatest weapon. By early 1942, Japan controlled a vast empire, stretching across oceans and continents. And at the edge of that empire was Australia. Australia had always relied on distance. It was far from Europe, far from Asia, far from danger. But in 1942, distance stopped being protection. It became isolation. Australia's best soldiers were fighting overseas. Many were trapped after the fall of Singapore. Defenses in the north were weak. Airfields were limited. Radar coverage was poor. And perhaps most dangerous of all, Australia did not expect invasion. That belief created vulnerability. And in war, belief can be deadly. When Darwin was bombed, it was more than destruction. It was proof that Japan could reach Australia, proof that the war had come south. The attack was fast, brutal, precise. Ships were destroyed before they could react. Aircraft were caught on the ground. Communication broke down. In just a short time, the damage was done. And when the smoke cleared, Australia faced a terrifying reality. If Japan wanted to invade, nothing was stopping them. In our timeline, Japan chose not to invade Australia. Instead, they focused on other targets. But imagine this moment differently. Imagine Japanese commanders looking at the map. They see a weakened continent. They see opportunity. And instead of hesitation, they choose boldness. Plans begin. Transport ships are prepared. Troops are assigned, routes are mapped. The objective is clear. Secure northern Australia, break Allied resistance, cut off American influence in the Pacific, and most importantly, send a message. No place is safe. The ocean is calm, too calm. Then, on the horizon, shapes appear. Ships, dozens of them. Landing craft begin moving toward the shore. Australian defenders watch in disbelief. This wasn't supposed to happen. Not here, not now. But war doesn't wait for readiness. Japanese soldiers land. Fast, organized, focused. Gunfire erupts. The first battle for Australia has begun. Japan's greatest strength was speed. They moved before enemies could react. And here, it works again. Australian defenses are scattered, communication is slow. Reinforcements are far away. Japan pushes inland. Air support controls the skies. Supply lines hold, for now. And in those early days, it looks possible. It looks like Japan might succeed. Across the Pacific, the United States watches carefully. Australia is not just an ally. It is a strategic anchor. If Australia falls, the entire Pacific changes. American commanders understand this immediately. Orders are given, ships are redirected, planes are deployed, troops are mobilized. But war is not just about strength, it is about timing. And time is slipping away.
They're advancing too fast. We need to counter now. Time is slipping away.
Fighting intensifies. The Australian landscape becomes a battlefield. Dense jungle, open desert, coastal strongholds. Every mile is contested. Japan pushes forward, but resistance grows. Australian forces regroup. American reinforcements begin to arrive, and slowly, momentum shifts. Japan faces a problem it cannot escape. Distance. The same distance that once protected Australia now works against Japan. Supply lines stretch, fuel becomes scarce, repairs become difficult. Every advance costs more, every mile becomes harder, and war begins to change. If Australia becomes a battlefield, the entire war changes. Resources shift, strategies adapt. The Pacific becomes even more intense. The United States commits more forces. Japan spreads itself thinner, and the balance of power begins to move. Even in this alternate timeline, the outcome may not change completely. Japan can invade, but holding Australia is different. The land is vast. The resistance is strong. The enemy is growing stronger every day, and slowly, the invasion stalls, then begins to collapse. If Japan invaded Australia in 1942, the war would be longer, more brutal, more destructive. Australia would not just be a base, it would be a battlefield. And history would remember it differently. Because sometimes the most important battles are the ones that never happen. If you enjoy cinematic WW2 alternate history like this, subscribe to Battle Paradox. Because history isn't fixed. It's fragile.